The Insurance Pro Blog Podcast, episode number 403. Your pursuit of millionaire status will be your downfall. There is no asset more versatile or more protected from volatility than life insurance. Add it to your retirement plan to shield against the unknown. We've been doing this for decades. Let us help you add a layer of security to your portfolio today. Check out more at theinsuranceproblog.com. That's theinsuranceproblog.com. Hello and welcome. This is the Insurance Pro Blog Podcast. It's Monday, December 23rd, 2024. This is episode 403. I am Brandon Roberts.
And I am Brantley Woodley.
And you're listening to the internet's favorite podcast that is recorded a day after it's published.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, that took a second. It took me a second to say it as I was trying to get through it.
Trying to wrap my head around what you were saying.
That's, yep.
I was going to say the internet's favorite podcast that puts out an episode the day before Christmas. So
hey,
there you go.
Merry Christmas.
There you go.
This is our Christmas gift to you.
Dedication.
Mm-hmm.
And just for those of you who are looking for a reason to pop your earbuds in on the week between Christmas and New Year's, we're also going to do an episode that week.
Look at that. The dedication that we have.
We may do one in the first week of the new year. You just never know.
This is like podcasting for you and I, like all the way back in 2012.
When there really were like 5 people listening. Excuse me.
That's okay.
The pneumonia won't let go.
It's got a grip. It's got a grip. But you could get a grip. On your
what a segue.
Hey, don't do it. See. Almost hit professional status after all these years.
No, we can't do that.
No.
I don't want to disappoint people right before Christmas.
Didn't get there. So today, let's talk about not becoming a millionaire.
Ooh.
Or becoming a millionaire. Or
not
whatever.
Being the millionaire next door.
Let's just talk
That's
about.
what we're gonna.
Yeah.
That's what we're gonna call our next book. You don't want to be the millionaire next door.
No.
Come on.
You don't.
They don't have any fun.
Nope. For years, financial retirement planning has really, really focused on the 7-figure balance.
Yes.
Like, it is the bee's knees of financial attainment. And if you don't believe so, just spend a second or two on Reddit. They'll tell you.
Yeah. You know what's always been interesting to me is the obsession with 7-figure net worth.
Okay. Yeah.
Which is even less impressive to me. Not that, I mean...
Do you own a house?
Right. I was just going to say, like, I don't want anyone to mistake what I'm saying. It's an accomplishment. Okay. Yeah. First of all, let's give credit where it's due. That is an accomplishment. But for most people, a 7-figure net worth would mean like...
That's it. It's pause for effect. That's all it means.
Well, I mean, half of that for a lot of people is their house. Yeah. I mean, you said it.
Yeah.
Let's assume they have their house paid for. So there's no liability whatsoever. So in other words, the equity isn't a figment of whatever you put on a piece of paper.
Yeah.
It's a real thing because you don't have any liabilities attached to it. For many people in vast swaths of the country, sort of normal middle class house is $500,000.
Mm-hmm.
A little above where I live, probably a little below where you live. So, I mean, I think on average, that's not that far off. So my point being, I'm not saying it's not an accomplishment, but it doesn't mean you're on easy street.
Right. And
to have
that's
$1 million net worth.
That's the issue. It's not about trying to demean people's accomplishments. It's about pointing out that where you need to go to get to where you're going is further along the path than you've achieved at this point.
Right. Right.
So careful
I'm
with
much more
complacency.
impressed with someone who says, I got $1 million in cash.
Yeah.
And I mean, combination of bank accounts and brokerage accounts and retirement accounts.
Whatever.
Liquid
Yeah.
is what I'm getting at.
Yep. But even then, life is not necessarily easy street.
No.
And the problem that we've come today to shine a light on is the fact that for many, many years and still today, there is a very prominent message among financial types to suggest that this is the panacea.
Right. They never explain why, by the way.
I cannot tell you the number of Dave Ramsey clips I have slogged through where he sits and tells somebody, if you just did this, you'd be $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all he says, but he says it with this sort of tone that seems as though that is the thing.
Yeah.
And you just kind of sit there and think, well, what does that mean exactly?
Yeah.
And what I've learned doing what I do, talking to the people that I talk to, living my own life, it's really hard, actually, to live an extremely stress-free life with just $1 million.
Yep.
And just an account of $1 million. And it really, at the end of the day, it's not going to matter what the value of the balance is.
Right.
What matters is what you can actually do with the assets that you acquire.
Yep.
But nobody really seems to want to talk about that. The one that I think got closest was the FIRE movement, in the sense that they understood quite clearly that a lot of people seek financial freedom.
Right.
Like the FIRE movement got off the ground by speaking to the people who they worked. They weren't over the moon about their job necessarily, and they coveted the day that they could decide, you know what? Thanks for the memories. I'm not doing this anymore.
Right. And their goal was to do that, to start at a young age and do that as quickly as possible.
Right.
So they weren't working into a traditional retirement.
Mm-hmm.
They were working, in many cases, into their mid-30s.
Yeah.
And then calling it quits.
Mm-hmm. And
I think financial independence, or financial freedom, as you called it, is a much more interesting barometer to me.
Yeah.
Than how much money you have. In other words, if someone tells me I got $500,000, but I get $80,000 a year in income from that.
Yep.
I'm way more impressed with that than someone who just says I got $1 million.
I remember years ago, there was a gentleman who came to us who had essentially retired, and he had a bunch of assets scattered here, there, and pretty much everywhere, and 7-figure balance type stuff. But the most impressive thing he owned was a piece of real estate that was not worth very much, but the income he was collecting off that real estate,
it was fantastic. It was like a third of the value every year he was getting in rental income.
Mm-hmm.
It was attached to a business, right?
It was.
Yeah. It was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we were like, I don't know about anything else, but we're really impressed with that.
Take all the money you got and do more of those. You're going to be fine.
Yeah, exactly.
The issue, though, is in order to have that sort of focus and to execute a strategy that really takes note of this and takes advantage of what you can to get ahead in this context, is a total shift away from worrying about the composition of the portfolio, in the sense of it's going to make me a millionaire.
Right.
Because even the FIRE movement got really obsessed with buy index funds or index ETFs.
Right.
Because there's no better way to become a millionaire than to invest broadly in the biggest corporations in America. that are publicly traded.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, I'm not even here to debate whether or not that's true. What I'm really interested in, though, is once you get to some number, and a lot of them started to come up with their own number, what they needed. It was kind of like going back to the late 90s, early 2000s was the ING your number. Remember the commercials with the guy walking with the number under his arm?
It was a good campaign, actually.
But the problem is nobody knows what to do with the number.
Right.
And it doesn't really mean anything. And then the really ugly and somewhat subtle destruction of your life is the unrelenting focus on that forces you to do dumb things.
Such as
pursue more risk to get more rate of return. Such as sort of catch attention with the advisor who says, hey, if you bring your money over here, I can get you 0.5 point more per year because I'm good at doing that. There's a lot of stuff that people do in the pursuit of more because they think having more money is somehow better.
Right.
But having more money really just means you have more money, which I know intuitively people connect as being the right thing, but there are a number of times it's not a good strategy.
I was going to say, I was kind of going to go the opposite direction of what you said about the crazy things that people do.
Okay.
Because some of that obsession over the number, I'm not saying in every case, but we've seen it a lot, drives a sort of obsessive compulsive behavior that leads people to do things like driving 10 miles out of the way to save 2 cents a pound on bananas.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I'm using that as an extreme example. Or driving all the way to the other side of town in a not so great place to save a penny on a gallon of gas.
Yep.
I mean, these are all like, I'm not making these things up, by the way. These are real things that I've seen happen.
Yep.
So, it's like, I'm thinking the extra fuel you burned, probably.
Yep.
And they seem to be also behaviors that place no value on a person's time. Correct. And I don't mean that in a entrepreneur bro sort of way.
Time can be about leisure.
Yeah, I'm thinking of it in a more sort of general sense. We all have a limited amount of it, and we should do what we can to make the most of it. And that just doesn't seem like a worthwhile endeavor to me. To obsess over things. That was, I think you and I have both witnessed that sort of behavior a lot. And we're not the type of guys, either one of us, who likes to just blow money on stupid stuff.
Nope.
But there is I hate to use the word balance because that's overused, but there is a balance to strike here. And being focused on hitting a particular number by a particular age, to me, people get really obsessive about that. And they don't really have any sort of framework as to what happens after that.
Yeah. And, I would argue that life is pretty great if you let it be. And it can be definitely worth living. And I think one of the perspectives you and I now bring to the table, going through everything that we've gone through for the number of years that we have, not necessarily earth-shattering new observations per se, but something that I think is captured in our positions on a lot of the finance discussions that we have, especially at this point in our lives. We are a bit older now than we were when we started doing this. And that comes with things like people who are important in our lives have passed away. And you have children who have all basically reached adulthood at this point. And that makes you sit back and go, well, that went quickly. And you start to realize that 10 miles to save a couple of pennies on milk was time wasted, not well spent.
Yeah.
And it could have been time spent doing something else of significantly more value.
Right. And there's all the time trying to figure that out, not just doing it.
Yep.
But there's the hunting for the 2 cents per gallon less, or the, it's all of that stuff. And sadly, the other byproduct of this that we've seen a lot is people focusing on the number, meaning, and I guess I should translate that. How big does my pot of money need to be? What's that number that I need to hit? And we saw this particularly, or at least I used to a lot when I would read FIRE, posts on Reddit or in forums or whatever. The number's way bigger than what they really need if they were focused on the right thing as opposed to just the number.
Yes.
Does that make sense? Did I say that in a way that makes any sense?
Yeah, because lots of times...
Put it in Brandon speak now.
They don't know how to translate a number balance to anything actionable when it comes to living the financial freedom that they're seeking. So in real raw technical terms, they don't understand how to take that and turn it into income.
Right.
Like for a lot of them, they go 4% of that, right?
Which is, which the 4% rule is not a rule. It's just an idea.
And now Morningstar tells us it needs to be this 3.7% rule.
Right. And so, and you and I have seen some stories of people who, quote unquote, retired, were using that 4% rule and then decided, well, that's too much. And now, those kids that were really little when I retired, they want to go to college now. That's going to take money. So there's all these extra things that come along as things do in everyone's life. I'm not criticizing them for that, but if they had done more planning on how is the number going to create the income that I need. I suspect that many of them would have needed actually a far lesser number.
If they had just started with the idea of accumulating assets, for example, specifically with the intention of generating income. Yeah. We've shown that before.
And there's many, we're not even partial to anything. There's lots of assets that produce income. But in my opinion, as a whole, when you own something, it should pay you.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's akin to, and this is going to be controversial for our gold bugs. It's akin to buying gold.
Well, if you own something purely for the goal of it accumulating in value.
Yes.
So that you can theoretically sell it at some other time for something worth more than you paid for it.
Right.
I don't care what it is. This is a speculative play.
Absolutely. It could be artwork. It could be cars. It could be guitars.
Now, I'm not passing judgment on that objective.
No.
By the way, if that's what you want to do, that's what you do it. That's totally fine. But don't kid yourself into that being the core strategy of your retirement plan and safety just because there's lots of other people advocating for it.
Sure.
It reminds me of something Warren Buffett once said about Bitcoin, which was, if somebody were to offer me up certain assets that have a real employable value to them, they generate income, like a certain amount of land or a certain amount of commercial real estate, I'm all in. Like, those are things I would buy in a heartbeat if they came up as opportunities.
Yep.
You could offer to sell me all the Bitcoin in the world for a serious discount. I'm not interested because there's nothing it brings to the table from I know how it's going to make money now or in the future.
Right.
It's purely speculative. It's driven entirely by the value that other people assign to it, which is very similar to gold. And quite frankly, a lot of publicly traded stocks.
Yep.
Now, again,
you mean ones that don't pay any dividends, basically.
Correct. If your position is, I want to bet on these things because I feel like I can choose the right entry and exit points, do you. Go ahead. But again, do not kid yourself about the risks you are undertaking, even if it's a company that everybody's heard of and trades publicly and is part of the S&P 500.
Right.
It is still speculative and it could still end badly. And it is not a good strategy for retirement to just accumulate value in that thing with the hope that you'll be able to sell it at the right time and then go do something else, whatever that is, by the time you get ready for retirement.
Right.
That doesn't work that well. Since we're on the subject of controversial statements, I will attack a sacred cow that I know is especially sacred inside the insurance world for whatever reason. I think The Millionaire Next Door did a bad job perpetuating this problem. Because that book was all about this sort of quiet thrift, an obsession about saving.
Right.
But that was it. There was nothing else beyond that. Just save, and don't spend a lot of money.
Right.
And yes, there are ways to accumulate money and feel comfortable in your head about that. But it doesn't really create financial security. Financial security is created when you have the ability to generate income without getting up and going to work in the morning.
Right.
That's what creates financial security.
Because you and I have known quite a few millionaire next doors.
Yep.
Professionally and personally. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not, again, it's not a criticism. It's just pointing out what observations. It never ends.
Right.
If you sincerely enjoy living that way, and there's no goal to ever get off of that hamster wheel, then you signed up for the right thing.
And speaking
because what we've seen is people who dedicate their entire lives to that, they don't wake up at 70 and go, oh, well, now I can just spend freely.
No, they do not. Speaking from experience, I don't know what force it takes to separate people who do that from that sort of thinking, but I have never been able to put together the forces capable of breaking it.
Death is the only thing I've ever seen. And I'm not saying that to make light of it, but that's the only thing I've ever seen to alter that behavior.
You have met people who are kind of putting themselves through undue stress by constantly holding on to that idea. That it's all about save.
And now whenever they need,
possible.
when they need a significant amount of money, then they have a whole nother stress, which is, oh, well, what do I sell? What do I take it from here? Do I take it from there? What do I do?
Or they even if it's cash, they just don't like the idea of having less money.
Right.
So it's a nasty.
And I've seen people put themselves through
spiral,
undue hardship, just because they didn't want to spend the money. Well, I probably need some help at home now that I'm older, but gosh, they want $2,500 a month for that.
Right. If I fall, I fall.
Right.
Hopefully I fall hard and die quick. We have seen it. We have seen individuals delay, put off, avoid certain things that they should be spending some money on because they just don't want to. It's not in their ethos to do that.
Yep.
And can be a bit dangerous. Yep.
But it's so much easier to just start with the end in mind.
It can be. And I mean, I can tell you personally, I've been able to amass a certain degree of assets.
A fortune, an absolute fortune. I'll just tell you all. He won't tell you. No, I'm kidding. I have no idea. But
far more happy, impressed, and peace of mind about the income that gets generated every month that I don't have to. I don't have to do this.
There's something exciting about that, even when it's not when it's not substantial.
Oh, years ago when it was like $100 a month. Oh my God.
What we currently earn selling insurance policies. You go, it's $200 a month. I didn't have to do anything for it. Just showed up. And it happens every month.
Yep.
It's amazing. I'd have to plunge any toilets or go to court or,
go to court.
For the person who's not paying your money.
Yeah. There was an internal conversation between Brantley and I just a couple of days ago where I made the comment that there was a appreciated position I'm sitting on that I could sell and redeploy into something much more income focused and probably generate a decent amount of income out of that. To which he responded, that's X amount of dollars you don't have to make selling insurance anymore each year. You should do that.
See? I'm here to add perspective.
But that's the mindset that people need to get into.
Yep.
Like if you start to save money and you start to acquire assets for the sole focus of generating income, that's less income you need to make each year doing your job. Now, no one's saying you have to stop working.
No.
You could earn the residual income, the passive income, the real passive income, and continue to work. That's
reinvest that income, and guess what? You'll get to that income number that you need to quit working a whole lot faster.
Or you just have more income on top of your your working income.
Either way,
which is
but
a position I'm in, and it's not so bad. Trust me, I'll tell you all about it. So that is what we're advocating for, because eventually it gives you the ability to go, all right, I've got X amount of dollars just being generated from the assets.
Yep.
That covers all of my expenses and then some. So I don't really have to do work if I don't want to.
Right.
And I need to bring it up because I always forget to, and then people contact me and all worried. I'm not going anywhere. Brantley's not going anywhere. We're still going to do this. It's what we do, even with the passive income. We're not going anywhere. But this gives you the option to retire if you want to.
Yep.
When you want to.
Mm-hmm. Look, I mean, there were a lot of people I know who loved their jobs right up till about March of 2020.
Mm-hmm.
And then all sorts of things changed. I won't even go into it, but all sorts of things changed that made the jobs they had had for decades all of a sudden very unappealing.
Yeah.
If they were in a position where they had enough income from their assets, retirement accounts, brokerage accounts, et cetera, they had the option to go, yeah, I'm done. I'm done with this.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not done working. Maybe I am done working. But either way, I'm done with what I'm doing right now. I'm not doing that anymore.
Yep.
But if all you have is a big pot of money that doesn't currently generate any income, you don't really know if you can quit or not.
Right. So let's give a few just sort of numerical examples of how you might think about approaching. So let's say that you make $200,000 a year. Let's say that you've got assets that are currently paying you dividends of about $10,000 a year.
Yep.
So probably pretty reasonable to say not near enough income from those assets to retire. But the trap a lot of people probably fall into is they look at it and go, well, that means I've got $190,000 shortfall. It's going to take me forever to get there.
Mm-hmm.
But here's some refinement on all this that's going to help the numbers quite a bit. So chances are pretty good that if you were retired and not trying to accumulate more assets through aggressive savings, there's some money from your income you could shave off from the actual income need.
Right.
Like if you're saving 20% of your income and you decide you're just going to live off passive income from assets, you probably don't need to do that anymore.
Yeah.
So now we're down to $160,000.
Yep.
Income derived from things like interest or dividends, for the most part, doesn't have a FICA tax implication to it.
Right.
So that's, depending on how you're employed, somewhere between 8 and 13% that you don't need to worry about anymore. And income earned from sources like dividends is not always taxed exactly as ordinary income, depending on the composition of that distribution from the asset.
Sure.
So that too might save you some additional tax money. So your $200,000 could get down to something much closer to like $130,000 pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Which I realize is still a good bit off from the $10,000 of assets that you have right now, but it's not as big a gap as you were thinking.
Right.
And now from here, you put the focus on, all right, how do I move forward acquiring the assets that are necessary to continuously build up more income?
Yep.
So you go out and buy assets that are focused on income. And now instead of worrying about, all right, is it up, is it down? It's how much more money am I going to collect each month or each quarter?
Or each year. Yeah.
Yep. From making that acquisition. And here's the other thing that it helps with immensely. market corrections. So lots of people freak out during market corrections and they sell their positions because they don't want to lose any more money.
Right.
But if you are solely focused on the income that is generated by the assets that you own, what generally happens with assets like this, when the market goes down, you may lose some value in terms of what's liquidatable, but generally your income stays pretty much the same.
Yep.
So if you remain focused on the prize here, yes, what you could sell it for has gone down from where it was a month ago, but the income that you're collecting from it hasn't changed at all.
Yep.
So my question is, who cares?
Exactly.
Just keep collecting income.
Yep.
One of the greatest examples of this, just as an individual stock, not that I'm recommending it, Exxon. Exxon in 2020. I went from like, what, $80 to $30? And the
That's my recollection,
dividend went nowhere.
Right.
Fantastic buying opportunity.
It got up to like an 8% yield or something.
You could have owned an individual stock, traded on the S&P 500, that had a yield that we don't see those very often. You could have bought in at that yield.
Yep.
Dividend has not gone down.
Nope.
Exxon's back to $100, $110 a share. So you cannot buy at that same income yield anymore.
Right.
But those who did, or even those who owned it beforehand but didn't sell, still collected the same income.
Yeah.
Quarter after quarter after quarter.
Yep.
Fantastic situation.
Yep.
Now, we spent a lot of time talking about life insurance in the past. Not so much today. But we like life insurance because it's a very low volatility asset, which makes a wonderful, wonderful income tool because it can provide very consistent income at a risk profile far, far, far less stomach churning than stocks would produce.
For sure.
And when we look at the income that's achieved from life insurance as a yield to cost kind of perspective, it does phenomenally well.
Yes.
Plus, it comes with an array of different tax benefits that are extremely hard to match with other style assets. So that's what puts life insurance.
Plus, if you die in advance, it leaves people a lot
that.
more money than you put into it. So
there's that, which is always great.
Yeah.
That's what puts life insurance high on the list of things that we like for the purpose of building a retirement plan. It has nothing to do with any of the other crap you hear about life insurance. It just doesn't.
You're not going to borrow your way to wealth or whatever.
It's not going to happen.
Whatever the latest phrase is.
Not for most people. Now look, there are people, we've got clients. They have policies, they've taken loans, they've gone and done some things. They love what they're doing with it. Good for them.
Yeah.
They represent about 5% of the clients that we have.
Yep. That's true.
For most people, not going to happen.
And we try to encourage people, if you're going to borrow from your policy, to buy some other quote unquote investment. I don't mean stocks. I just mean could be a piece of real estate or something like that.
And that's what these people are doing.
Right. Like making an income producing asset. Put the money to work.
Yep.
Because
it's not
otherwise,
a good way to finance vacations.
No.
It's not something you do to finance more insurance purposes. That's dumb. Apparently the state of Washington agrees with me on that.
That's double dumb. We never could figure that one out. Evidently the regulators couldn't figure it out either. Other than you making more money.
Right.
How does that work for the clients?
Right.
Talk about speculation. Yeah, we just hope it works out.
But that's it. I mean, I realize for lay people, it seems somewhat intimidating because you don't really know what to be looking at.
Yeah.
And that makes it a little bit harder. Dividends or distributions, I think is the more correct term to use with a lot of things like funds. That's where you want to focus a lot of attention. Again, we like life insurance because it's got a good...
but it's just part of the pie.
Yes. It's not the whole thing. It's not the only thing. It's not even close to the only thing. You can't
do all of it.
No.
But it's a great part of the pie. There's lots of things you should be doing. And
there's annuities too.
Of course. Of course there are. And I was going to say, if this all seems confusing, don't worry, because we're here and we'll help you.
Yep.
We'll help you figure this out. I feel like, this is a big ship to steer to sort of change the collective psychology of the world to be more income focused, but I feel like we're making a dent.
I'm just going to say
we have a
that we started
self-selecting
talking
sample and
about
that
it.
we only talk to people who are interested in doing it. So
I'm going to say that we started talking about it and other people seem to be talking about it, which may just be it's kind of like when you're looking for the car of a specific brand, you start to notice it more often.
That's right.
And maybe that's what's going on. But I'm going to tell myself it's because they're listening to us and thinking we're onto something. That's what's going to get me through the day.
I think so. We need a new tagline. We're the greatest source of plagiarism on the internet. Not that we plagiarize, but that other people take our ideas. These are not new ideas. I think we're just bringing around old ideas.
Yes.
I mean, there a lot of people don't realize. Please don't take any of this as any kind of advice. You shouldn't do that from a podcast of any kind, by the way, because your situation is totally unique. But back in the day, owning individual stocks paid a whole lot more than it does now.
Mm-hmm.
Dividend yields were much higher.
Yep.
This was long before the days of share buybacks and sort of the general corporate attitude that, well, we know better to do with the money than you do. So we're going to keep it because we're going to reinvest it.
Also helps that tax laws change to make that much more attractive.
Yep. So, it used to be that they distributed much more of their income.
Yep.
That's not as much the case today.
No.
So.
No, it is not. Okay.
All right.
I think that's good enough for today.
Sounds good.
I am Brandon Roberts.
And I'm Brantley Woodley.
And we will see you next week.